families, let's get it together. Get your acts together. Families, let's get it together. Judges, are you busy? Where's the judges? Okay, here they are.
fried pies left, and we want to try to get rid of all of them. If you want some, you need to go over and get the rest of them. We want to try to close the booth right away. No phone machine is getting ready to close down, and so anything that you want from over there, go get it. The program will be starting, our Pioneer production will be starting at about 2:15 to about 3:30.
Well, they didn't stay on there. They said 12 notice. And now they're on
Hey, y'all smile over there. That's right. I think 19 will both.
Hey, give the bell buckle.
Where's Stanley Bowers and his family? Raise your hand. Let's give him a big applause. Every Pioneer family. Stanley Bowers. said, 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, no, count higher. So she said, 1, 2, 3. All right, longer than 77 years. 7. Lola, how many years you lived here? Born. Lola, 75. Let's give her a big hand. Lola Way. That's my aunt. 78 years. Okay. All right. Anybody that's lived here or born here longer than where were we? 78, 79, 80. My goodness. Wait, how many we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anybody else? All right. Out of the 6, let's see who we can. We want. But how many ladies we got left here? 76? Oh, we're at 80. 81. Anybody dropped out at 81? 82? 83? 84? 82 is the oldest. That's Moroni. Let's give Moroni a big hand. Julia, how many years for you?
78.
78. Let's give Julia a big hand. Carl, how many years? Carl Bryant, 77 years. Okay, and over here? And Granny's lived here 75 years. She moved here when she was 11 years old, and she's now 85. So we have Lola Wade at 75, Moroni Hamberlin 82, Emma Wade 79, Julia Bryant 78, Carl Bryant 77. Does that mean he's older than you? You're older than he is? And Myrtle Hamberlin 75 years. So we give the boot that we give. Okay. Now we want the oldest living person that was born in. The oldest woman that was born in this here area that's lived here. 78 years for Julia, and Emma was born here 79 years. Oldest living person born in Kelsey. So Emma Wade is 79. Julia Bryant is 78. Any ladies older than that? Okay, the oldest living man. Is that Moroni? Okay, Moroni Hamberlin gets the prize, the boutonniere, for being the oldest man. Can you walk down this way, Moroni? Or we'll just take it up to you. You take it. Just stay there, Moroni. We want to save it. Let's give Moroni a big hand for that. We're proud of it. Then the oldest living woman born in the area was Emma Wade. And I'm the tiredest of everybody here today. I think we ought to give our hostess a great big hand for everything she did. She did a lot of work all on her own right here. Let's raise her hand for her. She's too tired, her hand won't raise, but she's leaning up against the cedar tree. And she'd appreciate it that when we leave, we clean up everything before we leave.
We want to give you something. I want you to know this family and her grandsons and her have worked like sisters, and they were so excited about having Pioneer Day here. We want to give her a
descendants here today. Would they all come up forward here? We'd like them to stand right in front of this table, the Jim Edgar family. LaFay Gilbert, Hudnall. Look at this beard contest. Brenda Lloyd here. Brenda Lloyd, will you come up to the microphone, please? Brenda Lloyd. You're in trouble now. Okay, the men and the women for the contest are standing right. We got a man and a woman over here that's in the contest. Let them sit down. They look like they. While we're waiting for that, I want you to see Jim Edgar's, John Edgar's great-great-great-great-granddaughter. 3 greats. Is that 2 greats, 1 2? This genealogy gets fun. Julian and Larry Bowers, they all going to come over and get in this contest for the prettiest dressed up ladies. Lola, come on, get in this contest. Now you know y'all gotta stay around. You gotta be present to win the cap and all. If you had the thing ever since you was a baby, still here. Next year. Big Dave's still here. Now we don't care if you're ugly and you got these beards on. We just want you to have a beard or a scrubby one. Come on over here, pretty or ugly or handsome. You ladies can't enter this, you know. Now over here so far we got... We need your help. Russell, there's somebody out there with a beard and a red hat on. We'd like him to enter the beard contest. There's Russell sitting right over there. Come on, Russell. So far we only got the Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs over here. Ronnie Russell, come on over. Look at these scrubby beards. All right, them there men got the beards. They want you to move out in front of the family so all the audience can see you. They have it already. So far we got 8 beards. I wanted to grow one, but my wife said she wouldn't kiss me. All right, now where's the judge on the year contest? Who's judging? ladies and the best dressed man. Good stuff. We went with the word authentic. They're all good looking and handsome and pretty. For the men, Brother Beard. Raise your hand, Brother Beard. Hot dog. He gets a big jar of soap. These are all homemade gifts. All right, and the best dressed authentic lady is Sister Hammerlin. Where are you? Oh, here she is. Let's give her a big hand. And that's a homemade jar of fudge. She and I'll sit down and talk about that afterwards. Okay, now everybody else can sit down except for the Tunks with the beards. We're going to see who's got the best beard. We want to see if you agree with the judges. Number one is over here with the red hair. What's your name? Dwayne? Roy. There's Roy, and then next is Jack, and then Ronnie, Doug. That's for the Dwayne Commander. Dwayne. Sam, and Melvin, and Bobby. Let's give all a big hand for throwing those wins. And here comes the grand prize winner. He's stepping out there. The judge is getting excited here, folks. Look out. Big drum roll. All right, this one here is for the shortest beard. This is the longest beard. Next one is for the reddest beard. No. The terrificest beard. Terrificest beard. That's the terrificest beard. A masterpiece artwork. There it goes. And go himself. He's not in it. All around good job. All around good job. Generally great. Generally great beard. I can't believe this one. They said that's the magnificent one. And here's a superb performance after a week and a half. Listen, we also want to thank Bobby that's been videotaping this whole show. We appreciate that. We got one more. Where's Alan Wade? Alan Wade. Now you're here somewhere, don't hide. Did anybody see old Alan anywhere? They just missed it. Big old jar of soap. Yes, big jar of homemade soap for Alan. All right, settle back. It's here for the program.
We also have a prize. Ray, the bicycle
They were commenting on that. I think during one of the 5 stations there, they were talking among themselves about the fixing it.
At 8 o'clock, the Jamboree ground, we will have a dance. It will be held at the Jamboree ground.
All right, to begin our program, before we get into this, we're going to have a real-live country dance, western dance. Here she is, none other, all the way from Hollywood, Texas. My own daughter, Stephanie Ingram. Let's give her a big hand.
Who is going to continue with our pioneer program today.
Thank you very much, Steve. I'm going to be doing an interview here, but I'd like to at this time express my appreciation for my wife and the work that she has done here. All I'm going to do is be talking to these people. She's done all the work and getting the information up and getting them together and everything else. Can everybody hear me out there? Well, I'm talking right in the microphone. I don't know if we can get any more volume or not, but I'll try to be as loud as I can. Okay, the first person I'd like to talk to today will be Sister Julia Hamlin Bryan. She would come up here, please. Well, I don't know if we got enough microphone, do you? We have to stay close here. You talking to this microphone. Okay, first I'd like to say it's been about 137 years since Brigham Young said this is the place in the Great Salt Lake Valley. It's been 84 years since the first Mormon settlement in Kelsey, as best we can figure out. Most of us here today are descendants of some of those early settlers. And in our program today, we'd like to interview some of these descendants. Julia, what year did your family come to Kelsey? 1904. Okay, where did you say your family came from? All right. And what were your parents' names? What did they do for a living? Can you tell us pretty close to where exactly they lived when you first came here? Okay, what? What did y'all do for entertainment?
You know what I was fixing to buy? You know what I was fixing to buy? And they'll come with the clothes.
We're going to see you. Have to get up early and work and we're going to see it. What we got out there, we had shirts and a little bag and clothes and things like that. We thought it was good and we didn't know it.
Okay, did you go to all your school years here in Kelsey?
Every day that I went to school, I went to
What stands out in your mind about Kelsey?
oh, just living here, living in the people that's been here. And, you know, I just love Kelsey, and that's where I've lived my whole life, and so I hope to die.
I understand you and your brother Moroni y'all had a double wedding.
We have a double wedding, we've been married over 61 years. We have all of our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and there's only one of the whole bunch that's passed away, and that's no old baby.
Moroni, could we get you to stand up here and talk to us for a minute? I think they're mainly going by this microphone, so when you're going to talk, I'll hold it up to you. Okay. Moroni, you are our state patriarch. When were you made a patriarch?
1958.
Who set you apart?
Harold A. Lee.
How many blessings have you given as a patriarch?
1,682.
1,682 blessings. What can you tell me about your mother?
She's the best woman I ever knew.
Okay, where were you born?
I'm born in Mechanicsburg, Mississippi. I like one day being a month old when we landed here in East Texas.
How many families were living here when you came?
4, we were the 5th one.
I understand that, go ahead.
Would you like to know the names of them? There's the Edgars, and the Bodines, and the Harleses, and I forget what's the other one. We was the 5th, the Dixons was the 6th.
Let's see here. I understand you sang in a quartet, and in fact, I know you did because I've listened to you several times myself. Who was in this quartet with you?
Heber Young, Roy, and Virgil Maine. 2 of my very dear friends. 4 of them, 3 of them.
I understand that you like to play basketball and baseball. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's 3 of them right here I played with. The best that ever grew up in Kelsey. This one here, this one here. And that was one of the best guards that was ever in Kelsey. And the center was, he's not here now.
Who is a special person you remember from those bygone years?
The what?
Who is a special person that stands out in your mind from the years that you lived here in Kelsey?
Always Kelsey, my mother. She was one of the greatest that the Lord ever put on there. Lots of good women here today. Lots of wonderful mothers. But you're not any better than my mother.
Well, we all love our mothers, and we should. You told us last night that they had a conference here one time in Kelsey, and how many elders did you say was present?
96 elders. They had the pictures made by Jeff Jason's home right on the north side. I have a picture of it.
Okay, Moroni, is there anything that you'd like to mention at this time? Just anything that comes through?
Everybody live the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much, Brother Hamilton. Appreciate that. Sister Wade, could I talk to you now? Okay, okay, that one, we'll just talk through like this. As I understand it, the Dixon family also came to Kelsey in 1903, is that right?
Right.
How many families were here before yours?
Well, according to what they said, Moroni said, there must have been about 5 families before we came here.
Where did y'all move here from?
My folks moved here from Mississippi.
Were your parents active in church work?
While here, you mean? Yes, very much so.
Okay. Okay. I understand that y'all were met, your parents were met in Mount Pleasant and brought to Kelsey by someone. Tell us about that.
Yes, my family came to Mount Pleasant and stayed overnight with one of our cousins. And then Brother Edgar, I don't remember which one, but it's the one that Edgar, Tim, I think, came there in a wagon and met my family and brought them to Texas, down to Kelsey. And from the information that I received from Moroni, that they stayed at Brother Hamlin's place the first night that they came here.
Okay, were you born in Kelsey then?
Yes.
Does that make you the oldest living person born here in Kelsey?
That's what they told me today. That's when I got this hat and this bonnet on.
How many people were in your family?
Well, my mother had 12 children, but she only had 8 to live.
Did you go to school here in Kelsey?
Yes, I did.
I've been told that you were a little mischievous back when you were young. Is there any truth to that?
Well, don't believe everything you hear. No.
Okay, did you have an experience with a tornado one time in Kelsey here?
Yes, I did. We were living about 3 blocks west of the church. My eyes came open, and I looked down, and I saw this hole. And I turned, and where I went to from there, I didn't remember, but when the storm was over, my dad had a fence around the yard, and they used to put boards, you know, around the bottom part and the wire at the top. Well, I was hanging on one of the boards, and ahead of me was my mother and my little brother, Richard, and then above her was Vera, and we didn't even know the other was there. So, anyhow, there wasn't anyone that was seriously hurt, and Sarah was scared to death because she was the only one in the cellar. I have a scar on my upper lip that something hit me at the time, but I was too scared to know that anything hit me. But that was the experience we had with the tornado.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Well, I can't think of anything, only just to say that I really enjoyed my growing up here in Kelsey. And we left here in 1929 after we married, and but we came back every year to visit the people here in Kelsey and my family. So I always have great memories of this little town of Kelsey.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Jeanette, when did your Grandma Dixon join the church?
In August of 1903. She wouldn't join the church till they came to Kelsey. She believed that Mormon men had more than one wife, and she waited till she come here to find out for herself, so then she joined the church.
Did she join first, or did your grandfather?
He did. He joined in 1899 in Mississippi.
Okay, from this, I assume you were born here then?
I was born here in 1926 over in the house that was owned by Viola Perry Gage, and it was close to where Moroni Hamberlin's rock house now stands.
How many generations of your family have lived here?
My grandchildren make the 5th generation that have lived here continuously since 1903.
Okay, you went to school in the red brick schoolhouse until when?
I started there in September 1933 and graduated from elementary school on April the 18th, 1940. And I started the high school in Gilmer. That was the first year that the high school was not held in Kelsey. It was consolidated with Gilmer.
Okay, tell us a little something about your grandmother Dixon.
Well, she made a very special impact upon my life because my mother was sick a lot and I stayed with her a lot. And she used to tell me all these special stories about the early days of Kelsey and about the early settlers, and many of them I did not know, but I felt like I knew them because she told me so many stories about them. I used to go to the cemetery with her when she hoed the cemetery lot where my grandpa was buried. He died before I was born. And she took me to the corner of the cemetery where the first lady was buried, Mary Smallwood, in 1903, shortly after they came here, on the 27th of January, 1903. Now, I've heard her say on many occasions that they stayed with Jim Edgar and his family when they came here, and she said that Lily Gilbert was 3 days old when they came here, and they stayed with them. So there's a little discrepancy on that fact, but I have heard her say that several times, and I've heard her and Lily discuss it.
I understand you found some church records one time. Could you tell us about that?
It's about 1949, somewhere along there, when they were remodeling the Kelsey church. Well, my husband bought some of the lumber that they took off of it, and he found 2 books out there that had been rained on, and he brought them home. He said, look, they've thrown the church records away. Wonder why? So I looked at them and checked it over, and one of them was the record of when the Branks was organized at Kelsey on the 29th of December, 1901. And Elder Manasseh J. Blackburn was the first Branks president, and he was the man that baptized my grandmother Dixon. I have her baptism certificate with his name on it. And just a few years ago, his picture was in the church news. He was still living then at 103 years old. It told about him coming to Kelsey and being on a mission.
What happened to those records?
I have a copy of the record. I copied about the organization of the church and the names of the people that was in the tithing record book. And then I gave them back to Emmons Bryant, who was the bishop then, and he sent them into the church historian's office.
Okay, I understand you're fixing a book on the history of Kelsey. Could you tell us something about that?
Well, I have compiled some of the things that I've gathered about Kelsey, and I plan to put it together as a book and to use some of the pictures that I have got, and my daughter has got and copied from different people of Kelsey, and I hope to be able to illustrate the history of Kelsey with a lot of the pictures that we've gathered up.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to add to what's been said about the Dixon family in Kelsey?
Well, I feel like it's a great heritage to be able to have lived in Kelsey and all these years, and it's really been a very special thing to me, and to have missionaries as school teachers. And when I started high school and saw one of my teachers smoking a cigarette, that's the first time I'd ever saw a teacher smoke one, and I thought that rather odd. I'd had teachers that had had a great spiritual influence on my life.
Thank you very much, Jeanette. Is Dean Fowler present? Okay. Brother Bryant, let you talk to us here about the Bryant family, please.
I'm not going to tell you how come I asked people to be here, because Johnny Johnson is going to tell you that. And I'm just going to talk for just a minute or two. I'd like to tell you that my great-great-grandfather, Abraham Church, joined the church back when the headquarters of the church was in Nauvoo, Illinois. And one of his sons, Hayden Wells Church, went to Nauvoo, and there he met the prophet, and the prophet Joseph Smith baptized him into the church. And I would like to tell you, too, that the Southern States Mission was organized in my great-great-grandfather's home there in Shady Grove, Tennessee. And I have the little table that was used as the podium whenever that was done. I have that at my home. I'm grateful that my family did come to Kelsey, and like I tell you, Johnny Johnson is going to tell you about why they came here. So I'll let that be it.
Okay, thank you very much, Hammond. Johnny, would y'all like to do your part of the program now? Just however you want to do it.
Well, we thought we was going to do a skit that somebody wrote up, but I'll just go ahead and tell what happened. Grandpa Bryant and Grandma left Tennessee. Aunt Early was born there, and they went to Oklahoma Territory. And that's where my mother was born. And I remember her telling me they lived in a little log house. And they didn't live around anybody else. I believe it was, what grandparents was it? Live there? Yeah, William Church, my grandma's daddy, they lived close by. But they'd lost contact with the church. And Grandma had prayed that, or in other words, her church subscription had run out of what happened. And she'd prayed that there'd be a way that she'd have the money to renew the church subscription. And one day Grandpa Bryant was hitching up the team to go to town, and Grandma was going down to the spring to get some water for him to take with him. And on the way down, she found a brand new gold dollar and a gold ring. And she grabbed it up and run back and said, Bob, look what I found. So now we've got the money for the church news. And so he took this money and he subscribed that day to the church news. And in one of the first issues that came told about Kelsey being settled. And so they came to Kelsey a year or so after that, I believe it was, or less than that. But they didn't stay about a year. It rained every day, and they nearly starved to death. And in fact, you know, an old dog will stay with you through thick or thin. An old dog got so hungry, he went back to Oklahoma and was waiting on them when they got back. But Grandpa had hid $40 in a cottonseed barrel. Now, he'd remembered the persecution back in Tennessee where the elders that baptized him was murdered the next day, and he remembered his grandparents telling about the persecution in Nauvoo that some of the kinfolks went through, and so he didn't trust banks, and he'd hid this $40 there in case something happened in this new Mormon settlement, he could escape and have something to fall back on. But as it was, the rain got them, and they went back to Oklahoma, and of course they come back to Kelsey again, then they went to Salt Lake for 3 months, and then they come back, and then they went to Arizona for 2 years, and then they went in 2 covered wagons from Arizona to Price, Utah, and Grandma got sick, and he decided that the place for them to be was Kelsey, so that's where they came, and I sure am glad.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. Carl Bryant, could we talk to you for a few minutes? Okay, well, just stay where you are, Carl. Let me see if I can come over. All right. Y'all excuse our technical program problems. I don't know what's... Brother Bryant, can you tell us where you were born?
I was born in 1905 in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma. Okay, how old were you when you first came to Kelsey?
I was 2 years old. See, they had already been here and lived a year and went back to Oklahoma, and I stayed 2 years and then come back.
Okay, did you go to school here in Kelsey? Could you tell us, did you go to school here in Kelsey?
Well, that's all I went to.
Okay, could you tell us a little bit about the school?
Well, they built that schoolhouse up there on the hill, you know, and that was the first year that they had school in 1912. That was the first year I went to school, 7 years old.
You have lived here for 78 years, is that correct?
all except the 2 years before they brought him back here. I guess right at 78.
I understand that y'all got quite a bit of rain here in 1905. Can you tell us a little?
The creek overflowed 19 times.
That's lots of water. That's plenty. I understand what excuse me. I understand what Moroni was saying a while ago that you were a ball player.
Well, I played a little. I like to play baseball and basketball.
Did you ever sing or play an instrument?
Never did. Played at it.
Okay. Would you like to add anything to what I've asked you?
No, that's about all I know.
Okay.
Johnny talked about starving death. I ain't seen nobody starve death around here yet.
That's on. Okay. All right. Let me see for a minute. Sister Lois died. Could you talk to us for a little bit? Okay.
I'm speaking for the Dodd family. George Berry Dodd came from here in about 1906. Hiram, my husband, was the first child born in Texas. He was born in 1907. They came from Tennessee to Arkansas and then on to Enoch. And they settled in Enoch, and they settled, it was about 2 miles, I suppose, from where the old Enoch store is now, south of the Enoch store. And that's where Hiram was born, on that place. They moved to Kelsey Creek, on a place in Kelsey Creek, which I don't know, and Hiram didn't remember just where it was that they lived on Kelsey Creek. They lived there a couple of years, and then they bought where the homestead is now. Mr. Dodd was the first Sunday school superintendent of the Enoch Sunday School. That Sunday school was organized in a little log house. That log house is situated on where we live now, the place where we live now, a few hundred yards southeast of our present home. And Mr. George Berry Dodd was married to Martha Lavinia Tefteller, and that was Joe Tefteller was Miss Dodd's brother. And of course, the Teftellers, they came about the same time, I suppose, that the Dodds came. And Joe Tefteller, of course, is the father of Wilburn Tefteller and Leonard Pearl, Eisenhood, and that family. And I guess that's about all.
Okay, Loris, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is Heber Jones here? Okay, Sister Wade, would you like to talk to us for a few minutes? Okay, your family came here in 1909. Where did they come from?
Well, my family, I was born in Arkansas in 1907, and there wasn't any of my family Mormons. And President S.O. Binion came as a missionary at that time and baptized my grandfather. And so he was a wealthy man, and he built his own church on his plantation. And wasn't long after that, though, that the non-Mormons burned it down. And so then my people wanted to come where the Mormons were. But President Binion advised them to go to Idaho. My father was a Finnish carpenter. So we went to Idaho. And the winters were so severe, my father came down with pneumonia twice, and the doctors advised him to go south, which then we came to Kelsey.
Okay, your father had a business here in Kelsey, didn't he?
Yes, my father built a store here, a large general merchandise store, and he sold everything from hats, women's hats, men's hats, shoes, cloth, and also feed for the cattle, and he sold plow tools and everything that farmers needed to live. And he also was the postmaster. The post office was built in his store, and he was the postmaster here for Kelsey. And the depot was just right down here, just across this creek down here was the depot, and beyond it, just a little above, was my father's store. And I have the big clock that my father had in the store for 70 years. And in that store, he had barrels of sugar, barrels of beans, and things like that. And this is one of the scoops that my father used to scoop up sugar and beans and put it in sacks for the people who came to buy.
Okay, how many businesses were there in Kelsey at that time?
At that time, during the period of, I'd say 10 years, there were 5 businesses, but they succumbed to too many for this small community. And my father was a very good manager, or else he wouldn't have made it, because they had 13 children, and it took a lot to provide for 13 children. But aside from the store, he wanted to keep us busy. He said that idleness was the devil's workshop, and so he rented land, and we farmed land besides the store.
Okay, you also went to school here at Kelsey. Who were your teachers?
Well, President N.W. Christensen was my last teacher when I was 6. And I graduated when I was 16, and I'm happy to say that I was the valedictorian of the class. And as I said, Elder Chris Johnson was my teacher, and he was also assistant to the apostles later in Utah. And what else?
Did you ever teach school?
Yes, I taught at the school. In those days, we had missionaries to come and teach, and we also had local people to teach too. The government paid the local people, but the missionaries taught free, and they were very good teachers, and we had a very good school.
Were you ever in a county meet in Gilmer?
Yes, I believe J.C.'s going to tell you about the meet. Oh, yes, I was at the county meet, and at one of the county meets, I won second place in declamation.
Is there anything else that stands out in your memory?
Yes. I want to tell you about this. Some of you may not recognize what this is, but this, we had the sacrament service as we do now, but it was carried on in a different manner. And this is a pitcher that held the water, and this is one of the goblets that we would pass around to the members of the church. And they'd take a sip, and they'd pass, and he'd take a sip, and it'd go all the way around. And I want to tell you, I'm taking up some time, but I want to tell you how this happened, that I had it. And I want you to listen to this, what it says on this picture, and what makes it so important. It says, presented by Kelsey Relief Society to Kelsey Branch, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, January 1910. And I want to tell you how I came to have this pitcher and this goblet. They were remodeling the church up here on the hill, and I was over here at my house, and I was out in the yard, and something came to me to go and see how they were doing up there. All of you know me, the ones that do know me, know that I am curious. So, so I went up to the church to see how everything was going on, and on the outside was a big pile of debris or trash. And while I was looking it over, I saw this handle sticking out of that pile of trash and part of this goblet. And I dug around it, and I came out with it. And just think what this means now, and what this has engraved on it would make it so important. And this picture and this goblet resides in my house, but the picture of it resides in Salt Lake City. The man came down, and he put a velvet cloth over a table and took the picture of it, and he took it that this engraving on it stands out, and you can read it. And I'm proud of that, Nicky.
Thank you very much. Okay, Sister Merlin. If I keep it from both, Okay, Sister Hamlin, I understand the Lindsay family came here about 1910. How old were you at this time?
I was 11 years old, second September. We left the 10th of November for Kelsey.
Where did y'all come from?
We came from Milam County, about 230 miles from here. But my parents lived in Alabama when they accepted the gospel, and they had one child. And they went on an immigration train of 200 people, and the missionary was with them. And they stayed there for a while. My father got sick, and then his cousin come by and wanted them to go to Idaho, and they went to Idaho and stayed until they had 4 or 5 children. And then his sister and her husband came from Alabama to Milam County, and my mother got after them to go, let's go down there. They'd had such a hard time in Idaho. So they went down there and stayed until they had 14 children. And in the fall of 1910, we came to Upshur County because of the church. My father came in the summer and bought a home and about 200 acres of land. And we lived there until he sold out and went to Arkansas. But he only stayed 1 year, and he came right back.
Okay, where did you go to school at?
I went to school at Enon. We lived over there near Enon School. And so we went to school at Enon.
What did y'all do for entertainment?
Well, we come to church over at Kelsey all the time to the parties after I was big enough to go to parties. But we went to parties over at Enon too a lot, and we had quite a lot going on at the school, such as spelling matches at night and things like that. But we came to church all the time to Kelsey.
Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about your stay here in Kelsey and your family, anything?
Well, my parents had 14 children when they came here. And they had 2 more boys, made 16 children, and they all lived to be grown and married and have families. And I I guess that's about all.
Okay, thank you, Emma, very much. Emma, would you like to come up here since it looks like Daddy made it back?
I'll try.
Okay, can you tell us when your parents came to? Maybe if I'll turn this way, I won't do it. Can you tell us when your parents came to Kelsey?
My grandfather, John Franklin Denton, and his wife, Mary Eliza Grisham Denton, came, and my father, Thomas Grisham Denton, came to Kelsey from Hunt County, Texas, and about 1910 is the latest record that I found. I found records where they paid tithing at Kelsey in 1910, and he also wrote us letters to his sisters back in Mississippi. And now he originally came from Alabama, my grandparents did, from Colbert County, Alabama. And now my grandmother had joined the church back in Alabama, but my grandfather, I don't know where they lived when he joined the church, but he joined in 1905. I don't know for sure when my grandmother joined. But they came to Kelsey to live in a Mormon community. He said he wrote to his sister back in Mississippi and said that he wanted to raise his son with the saints. And he said that said the Bible spoke of gathering the saints, and that he felt like that Kelsey was the place for the gathering of the saints in this part of the country. And my father went to school over here at Kelsey. In fact, my grandfather said that at the time he wrote this letter in 1910, he said there were 500 members in Kelsey, and that they were building or finishing up a Kelsey school. And that he wanted his son to go to school there, which my father did, to get his schooling there after they moved here. And me and part of my brothers and sisters got part of our schooling there too.
Where did y'all live at in this area?
Well, we lived in about 3 different places around here. I was born and raised in Kelsey Creek Bottom, we always called it, down on the 100-acre farm that my grandfather had bought. And then Grandma and Grandpa had a little place up here. Kim and Mike Osborne lived there at this time, just right west of Roy Sanders. And that's where my grandfather and grandmother lived, to the best of my knowledge. I know my grandmother died there. I don't know for sure, but I think that's where my grandfather died in 1917. And then there was a log house over in the field, kind of southwest of where they lived, and we lived over there part of the time in the old log house. We just lived first one place and then another off and on.
Your grandfather John, I've heard that he seemed like a pretty goodly man. He always had a lot of room for friends. From what I talked to with Daddy about, said that I think Brother Shirley stayed with him when he first came here, and several other people.
Yes, Brother Shirley stayed with him, and he also wrote in the letter to his sister that he kept from 1 to 2 elders in his home while they was building the church and while they were teaching here. And he spoke of the teachers that came from Utah and taught school here without any pay. And that, I can't remember. I wasn't prepared for this, so I don't remember for sure. But I have several letters, though, that he had wrote to his sister that lived back in Mississippi.
Okay, Emma, thank you very much. Okay. Virgil Means, could you come up here and talk with us a minute?
Get in front of me, I think this microphone will like in speakers or something. Okay. Brother Means, I understand your family came here in about 1912. Where did they come from?
Tennessee.
Where did they join the church?
My mother joined in Tennessee, and my dad joined here in Kelsey.
Were you born here in Kelsey?
No, I was born in Tennessee. I was 4 years old when it came.
I understand your father played a five-string banjo. Did he play for dances and things like that?
No, he used to years ago. I've heard him talk, but not.
Well, you played in a band here in Kelsey, didn't you, one time?
Oh, just the band that was here when Elder Young come. The church sent him down here, and he organized the band.
Approximately how many members were in that band?
42, I think, is what it was.
42 members. That's a pretty good-sized band. What instrument did you play?
Flat alto.
You sang in a quartet at one time. Who was in that group with you?
Oh, Lord. And I'd have to study a while. The first one, these two fellows here, Byron and J.C. Wade, and my oldest brother. Then I went from that to me and three of my brothers. And then from my wife and her sister, Lelia Johnson and Heber Jones. And then from that to Morona and Heber and Roy.
Sounds like y'all had a good time. I understand you like to play ball. What kind of sports did you play and what positions?
Oh, I played basketball and baseball. And as I told some of them the other night, in baseball, every position I played, the patriarch, Moroni Hamberlin, played the same position, and I had to track after him. I had to follow him and wait till he got out of line before. And this one back here, I played basketball with both of them and two more fellows. And one year, me and Brother Byron there were forwards, J.C. and Carl Dotson and Osmo Waters.
Okay. I understand that you had an invitation to go to Nashville one time. Who would that come from?
Well, I don't know what it meant, but that's back in about 1940, or about 1950, I guess. Jim Reeves, Jennings knew him, and he came in the Chevrolet place one day where I was and says, "Let's go to Nashville." I said, "I'm too old." He said, "No, you're not too old." He says, "Well, will you go out with me and see if we can find Jennings?" He says, "I want him to go with me." I says, "There's no use in going out there because Jennings is in college and I don't think he'll turn loose." And he had the same bunch with him, Bill Morris, Little Red Hayes, and the Mexican that got killed with him on the airplane.
Is there anything you'd like to add about Kelsey or anything like that?
The only thing that I could say is, to me, Kelsey will always be home.
See you later, alligator. I'll go
And
on, crocodile.
in 1940,
That's me, Matthew.
39, me and my wife, we were walking down Second South Street at Maine. Somebody blew a horn at us, and we walked out there, and it's President Benyon and his wife. And he asked me, he says, "What are you doing here?" And I told him, I just thought, well, maybe it'd be a little better for me out here. He says, "As soon as you can, you go back to Kelsey." And he made a lot of predictions about Kelsey that I have seen come true, and a lot of other people have. There's been a lot of good people go out of Kelsey. And the thing that I think about so much is back in those early days, I knew nearly all those people that these people have talked about, their dads and mothers. And you see those old men and old ladies at nights coming across the field down the trails with a coal oil lantern, going to church, and on Sundays, and had priesthood meeting on Monday nights. And some of them would walk 2 and 3 miles by a coal oil lantern. And I wonder a lot of times when I go to church now, how many people that go to church every Sunday down here would walk 2 or 3 miles by a coal oil lantern to go to church now at night.
Thank you, Brother Means. Thank you very much. J.C., that's your turn. The Wade family came here about 1916, I believe. Where did they come from?
They came from Oklahoma.
Do you play any musical instruments?
Yeah, would you like me just to go ahead and... You've heard a whole lot about the beginning of Kelsey. I want to tell you about the intermediate part. The Wade family came from Oklahoma in 1916. We stayed all night in Winsboro up there and came down here the next morning on the railroad. The first building that I remember seeing in Kelsey was a J.S. All store right out yonder. I was 11 years old when I come here. I was in the 4th grade, and I went to the Kelsey school and finished up and went through all the grades and graduated. And I taken the course in and got a certificate for teaching school. And I taught school up at Kelsey in the 1926-27, and I taught school over at Enoch as principal in 1928. It has been asked, what did the young people do to entertain themselves here in Kelsey? I want to tell you. If you'll just listen 1/2 a minute, I'll tell you what they did to entertain themselves. On Sunday morning, we went to Sunday school. On Sunday evening, we went to church. On Monday night, we went to priesthood. On Tuesday night, we went to band practice. On Wednesday night, we went to mutual. On Friday night, we went to the dances. And once in a while, I'd run into Lola over in town on Saturday. We'd go down and eat us a hamburger. It cost 10 cents each. And then we'd go up in the drugstore and buy us a cone of ice cream, cost 5 cents each. We'd go down to the Crystal Theater, and we'd go in there for 10 cents each, and we'd see a show, 1.5 hours or 2 hours. And some of the stars of that day was Hoot Gibson, Ken Maynard, Tom Mix, and William S. Hart. Those are some of the stars of the days I went. I played basketball. I do have some ribbons here I'm very proud of. Those ribbons are old ribbons. They're the ribbons that I won when I was going up here to school, 1923, 4, and 5. I represented Kelsey down there as on the 100-yard dash, on the 50-yard dash, on the mile relay, on the running broad jump, and also I was on the basketball team. So I was quite busy when I was in county meets. It's been a pleasure to live here in Kelsey all these years. I don't know of anywhere else I'd rather live, and I live right here in Kelsey. I have had many things, seen many things come and go. Right out there was a cotton gin, right over there was a store, the depot, and right up above it was a Brother All's store, and right up above it, about 100 yards, was a hall, and right up above it, 100 yards, was our home. Right up the road here, 1/4 mile, was our old school where we went, and about 1/2 mile over here is where we went to church. But that's all gone with the wind, as the old saying goes. But yet we have memories of it. And Kelsey is a spirited little place, community yet, and the people are proud of what they have in their homes, and they've done many things here to entertain themselves. We used to go up there to the old hall, and we had, here in Kelsey, we had the first brass band. Now, I played the B-flat tenor saxophone, and Kelsey also had a good string band, and I played the violin in it. We played for the dancers for many, many years, and I felt like I indirectly had a little to help the church finance itself. The church, when we were out here at Kelsey, didn't know what a budget was. I was going to Gilmer before I ever heard of a budget, and I remember the first time I heard a budget, I said, budget, what they're talking about. Of course, we found out in the latter days. But then days, we didn't know the budget, and so by having those dances, the proceeds from those dances did help finance the church. I don't know if I got any more to say. There's a whole lot that could be said, but you're getting tired.
Let me ask you one question. You ever been run over by a car?
Once upon a time, I was. Thank the Lord, though, it didn't get hurt. But, well, that brings back a whole lot of more talk. I was a deerman. I was one of the old deermen here in Kelsey, and I'd better quit on that.
Thank you, J.C. I talked to Brother Heber Jones the other night, and he was telling me that J.C. come up to the door one day and asked if he'd ever been run over by a car. He'd got in front of his, tried to crank it up, and it cranked up and run over him. Brother Byron Wade, could you talk to us for a few minutes? These 24th of July celebrations, were they a big deal back when you were young?
Back when I was a boy growing up, we couldn't get up early enough and get around quick enough to make one of these 24th day of July celebrations. At that time, we had plenty of watermelons and plenty of fried chicken and everything else you'd want. Cold lemonade, it was made in the tubs, and all of this was free. Everybody brought something, and we just had one great big picnic. We had all kinds of programs, all kinds of singing and racing and everything, and we really enjoyed ourselves. We had some of our political leaders that would come and make talks, and we enjoyed them, and we are proud that we can celebrate today in memory of that. It brings back a lot of memories from way, way back yonder about 70 years ago.
What was your first impression of Kelsey when you got off the train here?
Kelsey, I wasn't for sure about Kelsey. We lived in a lovely home in Oklahoma. It was a two-story home. We got off the train at the little depot right over here, and Brother Earl's store was there, and the dance hall was up above there. And we went up a little further, and there was two old houses looked like was about ready to fall down. And I'll never forget Mother crying, and she wanted to leave, and Dad said, well, Mother, you'll enjoy it if when you find these people, how good they are to each other. And that's when we found out that they called each other brothers and sisters. We never had heard that before. Talking about J.C. getting run over with a car, I got run over with a racehorse one time in Bountiful, Utah. So I guess both of us is lucky to even be here today.
You said something the other night to my wife that you were just a young boy and you got off the train, you seen all these trees and everything around, you thought they was full of varmints and stuff.
Where I came from was just wide open spaces. It was a plain, and we didn't have very few trees, and when we came down the little railroad track on the, I forget what to call that train, but anyway, when we came down through there, all these trees like this you see here, I told Mother, I said, what in the world is all this? She said, well, Byron, that's trees. They have lots of trees down in here. And she was telling about different things that we would enjoy down here of the trees. We would have it for wood.
And I want to tell you about playing for danger. Can you listen real close? Because we haven't got any microphone. You'll have to hold it down. Just listen with your ears. It's the gas went out. We used to play for a lot of dancers around here. J.C. and myself and Heber Jones and Leo Cage. And I did all the singing for that orchestra. And we really had a good time. We played for as many as 5 dances a week all over the state here. And one time we went to Dallas and put a program on in one of the largest theaters in Dallas, Texas. And that was when I was road.
We really enjoyed being in Dallas and putting on a program there. As all of you know, I'm a patriarch. I've been a patriarch since '72. I've been a patriarch in 3 different states, and I have given probably around between 1,500 and 1,600 blessings. I was ordained by Gordon B. Hinckley as patriarch of the church in 1972. And as I see President Hinckley go, I think of the time that he put his hands on my head and gave me the many blessings that he gave me as I became a patriarch. And I think of that many times. I don't know what else to tell you. What else you got to say?
Okay, thank you very much, Brother Wade. Appreciate it. Reading, would you like to talk to us a few minutes? I have to keep my back to that speaker if I don't have to screen. Come around this side.
I'm Reedy Shirley MacArthur, the second wife of Charles Shirley. He's the one I'm going to talk about today. I did move here in 1937 and lived among the most wonderful people. They treated me like one of the members, never asked me to join, but I went to Relief Society and all of that, and I did join the church. I was a long time about doing it, but I did. But I want to tell you about Charles Shirley. He was born the 24th of February 1981 in Meridian, Mississippi. His folks joined the church when he was 2 years old. His father was Benjamin Pinckney Shirley, and his mother was Ella Cornelia White. And they joined the church when he was 2 years old, and he was blessed. And I found this in Salt Lake, where he was blessed and when he was blessed. And Brother Grantham that lived over here, you know him, he was the one that blessed Charles. Charles's folks moved a lot. They lived, go back. He had to leave Mississippi because of the persecution. His dad went out to plow one morning, and there was switches platted on the plow. And they knew what that meant, that they had to leave. So they left. They lived in Texas, they lived in New Mexico, and a number of places, but they went back to Tennessee for a while. And then, at last, he was in Oklahoma in 1913, and he come to Kelsey to be in a Mormon community and to go to school. He worked for Brother Denton for $10 a month during the summer, and in the winter he used that to buy school supplies and to pay a little board to Brother Denton. And Tommy Denton was to him just like a brother. He loved Tommy, and Tommy loved him to his dying day. And he married in 1920 Mary Pamplin from Lawrence County, Mississippi. They had 8 children, which there are only 2 living. Milton and Rowan Shirley are the only 2 of the first family. And then he and I married in 1939. We had 2 children, and I had a stepdaughter, Irene Bird, and she was sealed to Charles and I. So she's got the responsibility now to help me with the genealogical research because she is on his sealed line, and she has helped me. I'm thankful to be here, and I'm thankful I have a testimony of the gospel. I can remember when I lived here, and then this is the middle time that nobody talked about. The church sent missionaries down here to teach school. They didn't get anything from the county or state or anything, just what they gave them $50 a month to teach. And they taught, and they did hire Myrtle Woodard. She was a Jones, Heber's sister, folks married. They gave her $85 a month to teach, and the missionaries got $50. And in the summer, the missionaries would go out to Dallas and track and do missionary work during the summer, but they taught here. And it was a wonderful school. And I'm glad that I joined the church. And I'm now living in Albany, Utah. Charles and I have 2 boys, both living in Utah. Harold lives in Cedar City. He has 9 children, 6 boys and 3 girls. Alphas, our baby son, lives in Albany, Utah, and he has 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. And Irene, she lives in Dallas. She has 5 children. And Juanita, a niece of mine that Charles and I raised, lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she has 2 sons. And oh, I want to tell you a little something else about Charles Shirley. He baptized 172 people. He preached 200, now he'd resent that word preacher. He spoke at 250 funerals. He's went out of state many times to speak at funerals, and people have been brought to my house all hours of the night with sick people to be blessed. And Charles Shirley was one of the most wonderful men I've ever known. I lived with him over 25 years, and he never was cross with me or raised his voice to me once. When I'd come in the room, he'd get up off me his chair, and I'd say, "I'm at home, keep your seat." You see, I treat you as well as I would someone else's wife. If somebody else's wife would come in, I'd get up and give him a chair. And he lived his religion. And everybody that knows Charles Shirley loves him. And I want to tell you something else. 1962 or 64, I don't know which, there were 2 missionaries came to our house and made a tape of Charles Shirley's testimony of his war experiences. And in 1968 or 9, our baby son was on a mission in Washington State, and he met this elder that had this tape, and he made a tape and gave it to Charles as his son. And this year, I made quite a few tapes. I brought 3 to Kelsey. I brought one to Moroni, and I brought one to Sister Myrtle, and I brought one to James McNair. And if any of you want a copy of his voice, I know you're just welcome to copy it. Charles has been gone now 20 years. And I'm now waiting to join him. I don't know how soon, but I know he's waiting for me. And I love all of you, and thank you for this opportunity.
Well, thank you very much, Dave. Brother Jimmy, if you would ask you words to you, please. I know we've heard a little bit about the Means family, and I'd like you just to relay whatever comes to mind about both sides of your family.
Well, of course, Virgil has told you about the Meanses. Actually, it was the Ammonets that came, and the Meanses were married into the Ammonets, and Sister Ammonet was a widow. And she came here. Actually, she wasn't a widow. Her husband had an accident and had been institutionalized for the last 8 years of his life. And she came here as a widow and raised a large family as she got here. And some of the first that came were the Baileys and the Hawkinses, and they came in 1902, which was very early. And I can take my grandchildren down into the cemetery and show them 7 generations from them that are buried in that cemetery. The Smiths came out of Yazoo County, Mississippi, with along with the Hamberlins and the Fusels and the Slaters and the Cargills and several others. That's about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Jimmy. At this time, that concludes my part of the program, and I thank everyone here for their cooperation and for the help that they gave us.
Let's give Brother Denton a big hand and his wife. They did a lot of work on this, and we really appreciate the work of my wife and named Sherry Dawson and Ricky Tefteller. They were in charge of. Let's give them a big hand. That's a lot of work that they've done for us. Also, lost and found. Somebody found a great big beautiful knife. It's an old-timer's knife, and it has a special problem. If anybody can tell me whose it is or what the problem is, you can have it. We appreciate you, and the time is flowing by rather quickly, so I'm going to turn this back over to Sue or Oscar Reddy. Oh, yeah, you're all waiting to get the calf, aren't you? Yeah, you want to get a calf today? Somebody want to take it home? We got some other lovely prizes. Oscar? You got something to say about this? We dispense with the greased pig and the climbing of the pole. But we still got the gas given away. Here you are, Oscar. Okay, this is there for me. Last one's cap. We need somebody that's unbiased.
All right, let's come up. There's a $5 gift certificate.
Here's a little boy who doesn't belong in our wards at all.
Overnight VCR to Nan Fowler. So we're going for that now.
Reach in there now. This one here is for what?
$5 gift certificate to VCR
This
overnight.
Overnight VCR gift certificate from White's.
Wilbur Tefteller Jr.
From Fowler, what was it?
Wilbur Tefteller Jr., if you're here, would you come forward with Dot? Do you have a representative? Yeah. And this gift certificate is for Nan and Dean Fowler.
You have to
Okay, you have to be here to win. We'll have to draw another one if you're not here.
Who was it?
Wilbur Tefteller Jr.
Is he here? All right.
Wilburn Tefteller Jr. Thank you, dear. That's my wife giving me instructions on how to use this little machine. What are we drawing for next? All right, we still haven't given away the gift certificate. Here we have a name. Peggy Hall.
What is it?
The $5 gift certificate is gone. Okay, draw another one right quick. Brandon Grubb. Brandon Grubb. Brandon, are you here?
Gotta be here. He's gone.
All right, we're still going for the gift certificate. Let me help you out here.
Oh, all right, let him go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, draw one, Eddie.
That's a good one. Martha Seahorn.
Martha Seahorn.
Is Martha here?
She's right up there.
A gift certificate from Fowler's Jewelers, $10.
Try another one.
Dorothy Buchanan. Dorothy Buchanan.
Look out.
All right, we're still going another one. Tina Smith. Tina Smith.
Try another one.
Try another name here. Oscar Ready, Boston. Sherry Hunt. I know Sherry's here. Sherry Hunt.
Just left. Try another one.
Stacy Griswold. Congratulations. One $10 gift certificate, Classic Kids. The winner is Terry Kozad. Sherry Jackson. One overnight VCR, White's Auto. The winner is Jennifer Grubb. Jennifer Grubb.
Okay.
Another name. Stephanie Ingeman.
I didn't do that.
Stephanie Ingeman. There you are, Stephanie. Congratulations. An overnight VCR from White's Auto, VCR movie. The winner, Carla Sumi. Carla Sumi. All right, we'll have another name here. Dorothy Carroll.
Dorothy Carroll.
Here are Dorothy. 3 games at Golston games donated by Charlene Tepsteller. Charlene Tepsteller. 3 games. All right, here's the winner. Lester Baird. Lester Baird. Okay, the winner is Vonda Bryant. Vonda Bryant. Vonda, congratulations. Been elected. A large bag of popcorn from the corn popper in Longview. The winner is Louise Baird.
That's the best popcorn in the world. That's different flavors. 32 flavors.
32 flavors. It goes to David Ashworth.
There it comes.
David Ashworth. Another bag of popcorn from the corn popper. The winner is, by Charlene Tepsteller, the winner is Kevin Ward. Kevin Ward. Kevin, come on, get your big prize there, boy. Good. Okay, good, Kevin. All right, one more bag of popcorn, donated by Charlene Tepsteller. The winner is Todd Ritter. Todd Ritter. Are you here, Tom? Todd Ritter. All right. Why don't we just hold that sign and then put the... All right, the next prize. Some Oriental trays from Austin Flower Shop, all right? And the winner is Tom Weston. Tom Weston.
Is he here? I'll go over for him.
Tom Weston. All right. All right, here's another prize here from the 2nd edition. And the winner, Ona Bryant. Ona Bryant. No, that's good. Good. All right, give me another one here. That's a fun face. That's an Ona.
That's me.
Ona here. That's just the, not the room. What are you going to do on this? See this one. All right, here's a pot of flowers from Planter's Paradise. And the winner is Sylvan Palmer. Sylvan Palmer. Are you here, Sylvan?
No, they got him.
Okay, draw me another name then. Yeah. All right, Brenda Loy. Another name. Elizabeth Bradshaw. All right, give me another name. Walter Reddy, he's gone too. Says these plagues strike everybody, don't they? Teresa Smith. All right. In a pocket full of paper here. Whoop. Myrtle Hamberlin. Wow, how about that? That's so very close.
You have to be here to win this one.
All right, you really, really have to be here to get this baby cash.
I hope y'all have a place to sit in.
The winner is Constance Chandler. Constance Chandler.
Not here.
Give me another name.
Oh, she's got to be 12.
Melissa Palmer. Here you are, Melissa. A picture of a baby calf. All right, that's good. Nice job, folks. Nice job.
Let's give Oscar a big hand. Now tonight, we're going to adjourn this thing, and it starts, the barbecue starts in an hour at 5 o'clock over at the Jamboree grounds, and then the dance is right afterwards at 8 o'clock. And before we go, we got to have the clothes here, and I need everybody sing the last verse. Why should we mourn or think of what is hard? 'Tis not so, all is right. Why should we sing to earn a great reward if we now shun the fight? Gird up your loins, fresh courage take. Our God will never us forsake, and soon we'll have this tale to tell. All is well, all is well. Thank you. And before we go, we have one other song we want to sing. We have a new member of the church in our area, her and her family. And today is Judy Nutt's birthday. She's staying right over there with the cowboy hat on. Let's sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Judy. Happy birthday to you. Surprise, it's your whole birthday party.
One she's this way. Kids, stand disobedient. Disrespectful of bossy, piggy, boring. Walk on the subject, kids. You can talk and talk till your face is blue. Mom, there are more important things to do. Why can't it be like yesterday? Perfect in every way. What's the matter with us today? Kids, I don't think it's too much to ask for a little help around here. Mom, sure, it's pretty cleaning in the summer. Kids, your father and I were not born Indians. Big well, ain't that so much? Michael, Cabot Patch, don't forget Bonnie. Mom, what does it matter if things are put away? Kids, why can't they clean with your pretty thing I say? Come in and upon you, tomorrow and today. And need or not, we're here today. Daddy's home! Oh my God!
your mother today and help her with all the work?
Yes, Daddy.
Aren't we lucky to have such well-behaved children?